By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to refactor a legacy file safely with Claude, one step at a time, ensuring your codebase remains stable and efficient. Refactoring legacy code can be daunting, but with Claude, you can break it down into manageable tasks. You'll learn how to identify areas for improvement and apply Claude's tools to simplify your code. This is crucial because legacy code can be brittle and prone to errors, making it difficult to maintain and update. By refactoring safely, you'll reduce the risk of introducing new bugs and make your code more readable and maintainable. We'll take it one step at a time, using real-world examples and concrete steps that you can follow along with. You'll see how to use Claude Code to analyze your code, Claude.md to document your changes, and MCP server to test your updates. Let's get started with the first step, identifying areas for improvement in your legacy file. Vocabulary: refactor, legacy, codebase, efficient, brittle, maintainable. By the end of this scene, you'll be able to set up your Claude environment to safely refactor your legacy file. You'll need to install the necessary packages and configure your IDE to work with Claude Code and Claude.md. First, make sure you have the latest version of the Claude API. You can check this by running Claude version in your terminal. If you're not running the latest version, update it using pip install, upgrade Claude. Next, install the Claude Code extension for your IDE. This will give you features like code completion and debugging. For example, if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can install the extension by searching for Claude Code in the Extensions Marketplace. Once you've installed the extension, configure it by creating a new file named Clauderc in your project root. In this file, add your Claude API key and set up any other configurations you need, such as the location of your Claude.md file. With your environment set up, you're ready to start refactoring your legacy file. Try running Claude init in your terminal to verify that everything is working correctly. Now, open your IDE and create a new project using the Claude Code extension. You should see the Claude.md file and other Claude-specific features. Your next step is to try running Claude status to see how Claude analyzes your code. By the end of this, you'll be able to pinpoint the most critical areas in your legacy code that need refactoring. You've set up your environment. Now it's time to use Claude's analysis tools to identify complex code segments. Open your legacy file in your preferred code editor and make sure you have the Claude Code plugin installed. With the plugin, you can run a code analysis using Claude's API. This will help you identify areas of your code that are hard to read, inefficient, or just plain confusing. To start, create a new file named analysis.json and add your Claude API key to it. Then, navigate to your terminal and run Claude Analyze. File legacy_code.py, config analysis.json. This command will output a detailed report highlighting potential issues in your code. Look for sections marked complexity and readability. These are your prime candidates for refactoring. Focus on the top 3 areas with the highest complexity scores. These are likely to be the parts of your code that will benefit most from refactoring, improving both readability and performance. Now, take a close look at these sections and think about how you can simplify them without changing their functionality. Your next step is to create a new branch in your version control system, so you can start refactoring these areas without affecting your main code base. By the end of this, you'll be able to safely refactor a legacy file using Claude's powerful refactoring tools. Now that you've identified areas for improvement, it's time to apply Claude's capabilities to simplify your code. Start by opening your legacy file in your code editor and creating a new branch to work on. This ensures that your changes won't affect the main code base until you're ready. With your file open, you can use Claude Code to get suggestions on how to refactor specific parts of your code. For example, if you have a long function, Claude can help break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces. You can also use Claude.md to get detailed documentation on the best practices for refactoring your specific type of code. As you make changes, Claude's automated code review will check your work and suggest improvements, helping you catch any potential bugs before they become issues. This step-by-step process with Claude allows you to refactor your legacy file safely and efficiently, one change at a time. To get started, open your terminal and navigate to your project directory. Then run git checkout. Be Refactor legacy to create your new branch. Next, open your legacy file in your editor and start applying the suggestions from Claude Code and Claude.md. By the end of this, you'll be able to verify that your refactored code works as expected. You made it through the refactoring process with Claude, and now it's time to make sure everything still works. You'll use Claude's testing tools to run your tests and analyze the feedback from the Claude API. First, you'll want to run your tests using the Claude Code testing framework. This will help you identify any issues that may have been introduced during the refactoring process. You can do this by opening a terminal and navigating to your project directory, then running the command Claude test. This will execute your tests and provide you with feedback on any failures or errors. Next, you want to analyze the feedback from the Claude API. This will give you a better understanding of how your refactored code is performing and help you identify any areas that may need further improvement. You can do this by reviewing the test results and looking for any errors or warnings that may have been generated. It's also a good idea to use the Claude.md documentation to review the expected behavior of your code and make sure that it's still working as intended. By taking the time to thoroughly review and test your refactored code, you can be confident that it's working correctly and that you haven't introduced any new issues. Now that you've verified your refactored code, your next step is to try running a test on a small legacy file of your own, using the Claude test command and reviewing the feedback from the Claude API. By the end of this, you'll be able to apply the refactoring techniques you've learned to other parts of your code base, continually improving your project's maintainability and performance with Claude. You've successfully refactored a legacy file one step at a time using Claude Code and Claude.md. Now it's time to take these skills to the next level. Your code base likely has other areas that could benefit from refactoring. Identify the next file that needs attention and apply the same techniques you've learned here. Start by reviewing the file, looking for areas where Claude can help simplify and improve the code. As you work through each file, you'll become more comfortable with the refactoring process, and your project will become more efficient and easier to maintain. To get the most out of Claude and its tools, be sure to check out the official Anthropic documentation and the Claude community forums for additional resources and support. If you want to see more tutorials like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel, Claude Lab, for practical, hands-on guides to getting the most out of Claude. Now, go ahead and take the next step. Pick a file, open Claude.md, and start refactoring. Vocabulary, Refactor, Maintainability, Performance, Claude.md, Anthropic.